At some point, you are going to get tired of starting the fuck over because that's the pattern, is it not? You get close, you get the momentum, things start actually working, and then something happens. You get busy, or you lose interest, or you pick a fight, you let it slip, you blow it up in some quiet way that you can explain away later. And then you're back at the starting point telling yourself it just didn't work out when the truth is, bitch, you didn't let it work out. You self sabotage right before it happens every single time. And you think you don't know why. But I'm going to tell you why, because I think somewhere inside of you, you already know success has been the fear underneath everything you've ever chosen. Not the fear of failure. Success is the fear. You are not scared of falling on your face. You have done that plenty. You have survived it. You are scared of what happens if it actually works, if you actually become the person you could be, if you actually have to hold the weight of the shit that you say you want. So you quit right before you find out and you call it 100 different things that have nothing to do with the real shit. Hi, you guys. Welcome to Listen Bitch Podcast. I am Brandon Lynette, your voice authority podcast coach. Your voice, your mess, it's your message. Your potential is your purpose. And I want you to get the fuck over yourself and go build that shit. And today we're going after the thing that has kept you in the loop for years, the starting over, the self sabotage you swear is not on purpose, the playing small that you've dressed up as being realistic or humble or careful. And we're going to get to the shit underneath all of it, which is a question about whether you actually believe you're worthy of the life on the other side of your potential. And before we go in today, obviously, this show is brought to you by Super Patch, and I'm bringing up focus today. Um, I need it because breaking the self sabotage loop requires you to actually see the pattern clearly and stay locked in when the urge to blow it up shows up. Focus supports concentration and mental clarity. These are all drug free. It is the FU to Big Pharma that I love. This is vibrotactile technology working directly through your nervous system. Okay. I always have a link in the show notes here. Um, so I just kind of want to describe to you your loop because you've been living inside of it so long that like you may not even recognize it anymore. You start something and you're very excited and you go hard and it starts to work, and right at the moment it starts to work, right when that shit gets real enough that success becomes an actual possibility instead of a someday fantasy, you flinch and you pull back and you get distracted by a new idea, a new project, a new reason that this one wasn't the right one after all, and you start over. It's a new thing, same excitement, same climb, same flinch, pretty much at the exact same spot. And you have convinced yourself that you are just someone who loves fresh starts, or someone who hasn't found the right thing yet, or someone whose circumstances keep getting in the way, and none of that's true. What is true is that you have a calling. And what is true is that you're worthy. And every time you approach this calling you're worthy of, you tap the brakes without even deciding to, because going past it means becoming someone you're not sure you're allowed to be. The starting over is not bad luck. It's not bad timing. It's a defense mechanism. Every restart protects you from ever having to find out what actually happens if you succeed. As long as you're starting over, you never have to hold the weight of arriving. You get to keep the fantasy of your potential without ever risking the reality of it. And that feels a lot safer than what success does. So you keep choosing it over and over and you're calling it life. You're going to get tired of it eventually. And I'm hoping today is that day for you. I've lived it. Success is the fear, it's not failure. And everybody thinks that's their first response. When I ask clients like what's your biggest fear? They all say failure. Almost nobody's afraid of failure because you failed before and you know you survived it. Failure is familiar. Failure keeps you exactly where you already are, which is comfortable in the absolute worst fucking way. Success is the real terror and nobody talks about it because it sounds in fucking sane to say out loud. Who's afraid of success? Who's afraid of making it? Who's afraid of being known for something? Bitch, you are. And here's why, because success changes everything. If you actually succeed, you have to become someone new, and you do not know that person. And the unknown is where your brain sees the danger. If you actually succeed, people's expectations of you go up, and now you have to keep delivering, and the pressure of maintaining it feels heavier than the comfort of never having it. If you actually succeed, you might outgrow people that you love. Relationships might shift. You might become someone your family doesn't even recognize, and that's a real loss, even if it's also growth. And if you actually succeed, you lose your excuse. And as long as you haven't made it, you can always tell yourself you could have. That's the lie, right? That's the lie of the people who coulda, woulda, shoulda. You could have made it, and you can bullshit your way through that. Success takes that away. Now you either did or you didn't, and there's nowhere else left to hide. So the fear of success is really the fear of exposure, the fear of change, the fear of loss, the fear of finally being seen without the safety of your own bullshit. And it drives the self sabotage every single time because your brain would genuinely rather keep you safe and small than let you become something that is not predictable, even for your brain. You've been protecting yourself from the best thing that could have ever happened to you. I want you to just kind of sit with that. And there is a difference, and this is something you guys I'm in the arena, bitch. I'm in the arena. Worthy versus deserving. I flip-flopped with this. I've struggled with this. I feel this to my core, and I want to make a distinction that will change everything for you, because people collapse these two words, and it's wrecking them. Worthy and deserving are not the same thing. And when it comes to God, it's not about deserving, because none of us will ever deserve that. It is about already being worthy. And that's how I've learned to separate the two of these. Deserving is about earning, it's transactional. Have I done enough? Have I been good enough? Have I performed enough to have earned the right to good things? And by that measure, none of us qualify. No one. That's the whole reason we need Christ in the first place. Nobody earns their way to worthiness through performing, through acting, through putting on a show. If it came down to deserving, we would all be disqualified, every single one of us, because we all fall short. Deserving is a losing game, and it was always meant to be so that we would stop trying to earn what was only ever given. Worthy is different. Worthy is not about what you earned, it's about what you were born as. And you were born worthy. That's your birthright, not because of anything you did, but because of who made you and whose image you carry. The king does not create junk. He does not assign a world changing purpose to someone who's unworthy of carrying it. Your worth was established before you took a single action, good or bad, and nothing you do or fail to do can add to or take from that. So I really want you to stop confusing the two. You are not deserving, and neither am I. And that is exactly why grace exists. But you are worthy, born worthy, worthy of stepping into your potential, worthy of the incredible things on the other side of it, worthy of the calling assigned to you before you took your first breath. The self sabotage runs on a lie that says you have to deserve the success before you're allowed to have it. You will never deserve it. You don't have to. You were already made worthy of it. Receive it like the birthright it is, and stop trying to earn what was handed to you for free. And obviously, your brain is in on this. The self sabotage is not a character flaw, and it's not random. It's your brain doing exactly what it was built to do, which is to keep you inside the identity it already has on file. It collected all this data. It says that's who you are. It wants to keep you in the box. You have a self concept, a picture, that picture of who you are and what level of success is consistent with that picture. So your brain treats that self concept like a thermostat. When your life starts to exceed the setting, when success starts to climb above the temperature your self concept is set to, your brain reads it as a problem to correct. Too much success feels wrong to a brain set on a small as too little wood. So it cools things back down. It generates the distraction, the self doubt, the urge to blow everything up, the sudden loss of interest, whatever it takes to bring your life back to the temperature it thinks you belong at. That is self sabotage. It's your brain just regulating you back to your thermostat setting. And it feels involuntary because it mostly is at this point. You're not consciously choosing to wreck your shit. Your nervous system is pulling you back to the identity it knows because the known feels safe and the unknown feels like death, even when the unknown is every fucking thing you say you want. There's a way out. You have to raise the thermostat setting, and you raise it through neuroplasticity by staying in the discomfort of success long enough for your brain to update the self concept. Every time you get close and you don't flinch, every time you let the good shit keep being good instead of cooling it down, you give your brain new data about who the fuck you are and what you can hold. The setting is going to rise. The new level starts to feel like home, and eventually the success that used to trigger the sabotage becomes the temperature that you live comfortably at. But you have to stop flinching long enough to let the update happen. Every restart resets the thermostat to small. If you think about a lobster grows by outgrowing its shell. The shell that protected it becomes the thing that's strangling it, so the lobster has to shed it. And when a lobster sheds its shell for a window of time, it's completely soft. It is exposed. It is vulnerable. It has no armor at all until the new, bigger shell hardens around its new, bigger size. That soft, exposed, terrifying window is the price of growth. There's no way to get a bigger shell without going through the vulnerability of having no shell at all for a while. You're the lobster who keeps refusing to shed. And you feel your old shell just fucking strangling you. And you know you have to outgrow it. You know you're meant to be bigger. And right at the moment that you're supposed to shed it and grow, you panic at the thought of being soft and exposed without the armor. And you clamp down and you stay in the shell that is fucking killing you. Because the shell that is too small, at least it feels safe. And the growth requires a window of feeling completely exposed and unprotected. Every time you self sabotage, you're choosing the strangling shell over the vulnerable window. You are choosing the familiar squeeze of small over the terrifying softness of growth. And you'll keep outgrowing shells your whole life. The only question is whether you shed and grow or clamp down and suffocate in armor you were supposed to leave behind. Shed the shell. The soft window is very temporary. The bigger shell is coming, but only if you let yourself be exposed long enough to grow into it. And I see you. Let me tell you what I see, because this is the shit I actually do. I see someone who is talented enough to have gotten close many times. That's the tell. You do not have a failure problem. You have a proximity problem. You get near the thing again and again, which means the ability was never in question. Something pulls you back right at the edge every fucking time. And you've been blaming the circumstances when the circumstance is you, protecting you from you. I see someone who plays small on purpose and doesn't fucking admit it. You do just enough to feel like you're trying, just enough to keep the dream alive, but never enough to actually risk arriving. Playing small is not humility, it's a strategy. It keeps you safe from the exposure of going all in and being seen at full size. And I see through it because I've watched enough people do the exact same dance to know when I see it. Baby, I probably created the dance. And what I see underneath all of it is I see someone who is worthy of the thing you keep sabotaging. And you just don't believe it yet. The talent is real. The calling on your life is real. The worth was settled before you were born. The only thing standing between you and a life on the other side of your potential is a thermostat set too low and a lie that says you have to deserve it first. You do not. You were born worthy. And the day you actually believe that is the day you stop flinching at the edge of your own success. If you see yourself in this, I want you to send it to the person who keeps starting over right beside you. And I want you to stop starting over. Subscribe. Make sure you leave a written review. Do it real fast and come finish the show. When Jesus called Peter, Peter's first response was to fall down and say, "Depart from me, for I'm a sinful man." His instinct, standing in front of the thing he was made for, was to disqualify himself. I am not worthy. I am too sinful. Go find someone better. Get away from me. And Jesus didn't leave. He did not agree with Peter's self-assessment and go find a more deserving candidate. He literally said, "Do not be afraid." And he called him anyway. The same Peter who said, "I'm not worthy," became the rock the whole church was built on. Not because he earned it, not because he was deserving. He literally denied Christ 3 times later and still held his calling, still went to steward his potential, because worth was never the thing that qualified him. Being chosen was. Peter spent the rest of his life growing into a worth that was assigned to him before he ever performed well enough to earn it. He failed and kept the calling. Please see that. He doubted and he kept the calling. He was never deserving and he was always worthy because the one who called him made him worthy by calling him. Babe, you are Peter falling down and you keep saying, "Get away from me. I'm not worthy. Find someone better." And Jesus is saying the same thing he said then. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. I already know exactly who you are and I chose you anyway, and your worth was never up for debate. Stop disqualifying yourself from a calling that was never based on your deserving in the first place. You have to catch the flinch. The next time something starts to actually work and you feel the urge to get distracted or blow it up or start something new, call it out. That is the flinch. That's the thermostat. And don't obey it. Stay in the good shit and let your brain update. It will catch up. And stop starting over. Whatever you're closest to right now, the thing you've gotten near before, do not start a new thing. Go back to that one and push through the exact spot where you usually quit. The breakthrough is on the other side of the place that you always stop. And separate worthy from deserving. Every time the lie shows up that says you have to earn the right to succeed, correct it. You are not deserving. You do not have to be. You were born worthy, and please receive that. You are going to get tired of starting over. I hope to God it is today. Because here's what's happening. Every time you do it, you get close to something great, and right at the edge, you protect yourself from your own success by blowing it up in a quiet way you explain away, and you have called it 100 things that are just fucking lies. When the truth is, you are scared of who you become if it works, and you'd rather stay small and safe and full of potential than risk arriving and being seen at full size. That fear is running your whole life, and underneath it is a lie. A lie that you have to deserve the success before you're allowed to have it. You will never deserve it. None of us will. That's the whole reason we needed Jesus in the first place. But like, you're born worthy. Worthy is the birthright settled before you take a breath, and no amount of failing or falling short can even touch that. So stop quitting. Stop shedding the same shell and clamping back down. Stop playing small and calling it humble. Stop confusing the fact that you're not deserving with the truth that you're worthy, because those are different things, and the confusion is costing you your entire life on the other side of that potential. You are worthy of it. You always were, and the only thing standing between you and it is your own hand on the brakes right at the edge every single time. Take your hand off the brake. Stop starting over. Own that you're worthy and go become the thing that you've been too scared to let yourself be. I love you guys.